Okay, good evening, all my EduMatch friends. I am so super excited to be here for another one of our EduMatch book launches for Aubrey Bright in stories that, oh my gosh, stories that connect us. I can hear myself, and so I'm like listening, and it's so confusing. So I'm super, super excited about this launch. Mostly because one of my bestest friends in the whole world is one of the authors, and I have been able to meet and work with two others, absolutely amazing women. And so I'm really, really excited to have this launch tonight. And we already have a few people listening. Lewis from the NYC Google Innovators Group already piped in. He was in like an hour ago, just waiting. He wanted to be like that first person in line that was let in. So thank you so much, Lewis, for joining us. And so I'd like to just take a minute and have you guys introduce yourself to anybody who may not know you, and just give us a little bit of background information.
I'll start. Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Casa Todd. I am a teacher librarian, which is how I know Sahar. And I'm the author of the book Social Media as well. I've written a chapter in Mandy's book, The Fire Within, and a chapter in some other books as well. I am passionate about showing students and teachers how they can use social media in positive ways. I'm a Google certified innovator, so awesome to see New York City representing. And I'm also the 2020 recipient for the Digital Citizenship PLN ISTE Award. And I'm excited to be here. This is so awesome.
That's right. Congratulations on the ISTE Award.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And
Leigh, how about you?
Yep. My name's Leigh Cassell. Jen and I met, I think, probably a decade ago, came together actually over conversations around digital citizenship. So it's really just so exciting that we're here together. I'm an educator by trade. I'm also an entrepreneur. I founded an organization called Digital Human Library, and we spend all of our time curating experts and digital content to support students in learning using simple and easily available technology. So the whole purpose of Digital Human Library is really supporting students around relationship building and connection. So our story really, really fits with the work that Jen and I do. I'm really happy to share that I was the recipient of, inaugural recipient actually, of the Ontario Teachers Federation Special Recognition Award for outstanding contributions to publicly funded education in the province. And that really speaks to the work that's done at Digital Human Library, which was a huge accomplishment this year. So really, really proud of that. Aside from that, I'm just happy to be here. I love spending my day and my time working in education to support students and learning. Sahar, how about you?
Oh, okay, great. Hi, my name's Sahar Fermani. I'm currently a student, but I'm an aspiring artist. Honestly, the opportunity to work on this book was purely by chance. It's a dream come true. I'm really excited to be here. I'm still making my way in the world, so this is just a great opportunity.
Nice.
Oh, I just love you. Okay. I mean, I love you all, but you know.
I love you, Sahar.
We all love you, Sahar. Okay. So we're gonna start out talking a little bit about the book and digging into that. And so one of the first things I would like to ask is, how did you come up with the idea for Aubrey Bright?
Sure. So, I've already alluded to the fact that Jen and I have talked about writing a book together for a number of years. And Jen's going to speak to how this, like that moment in time actually finally happened. We both share a passion for educational technology and the important role and value it plays in student learning, specifically the ways that we use technology to connect and develop digital citizenship and digital literacy skills. So our passion really became the foundational theme for our book. Jen?
So then Sahar and I were driving to a graduation. I believe you were volunteering, right, Sahar? And we were talking about our life's dreams, and she shared that she had always imagined that one day she would illustrate a children's book. And I have to tell you that Sahar came into the library every day and drew the most beautiful doodles that were like inspiring art pieces. I remember her bookmark that bookmark contest, I don't know if you remember that, Sahar, but we were just blown away by her artistry. And then when she said she had always dreamed of illustrating a book, and I knew that Leigh and I had been speaking about doing this for years, I guess worlds collided. That was really the impetus for us beginning our journey together. It's been a long journey, but just so rewarding, and we were so grateful to have her on side.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I absolutely love that, and you know, it's not super often that our authors actually know our illustrators. We've had a few student illustrators kind of here and there, but it's definitely a unique situation, and it's just so amazing what they come up with. I mean, you can't tell the difference between the illustrators that have been working for years in some cases and the student illustrators, because they're just so talented. So, and Sahar, like in your case. So I'm super excited always to hear that we have student illustrators. But mostly, unless I was told, I would never know, because they always look so professional and amazing.
Well, the one thing that I do have to say is that Leigh and I both share a passion for amplifying student voice. We also co-founded something called the Global Education Student Chat. So just the fact that Sahar had this dream and we are all about student voice, it just made so much sense.
And
right?
so I think what was unique to our situation too is that Sahar joined us in all of those early meetings to help, you know, create this character that is now Aubrey Bright, and frame a story that you see today. And it evolved so many times over. But Sahar's voice and her ideas were instrumental in the creation of our book and especially the character.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we talk about Aubrey Bright and the stories that connect us. And why is the topic in Aubrey Bright so important?
Well, it's important for a number of reasons. Jen and I both spend most waking moments working to educate children and teachers too, and in ways that help them explore topics like digital literacy and digital citizenship. And of course, the theme of our book, the power that technology has to connect us. Technology gives us access to powerful tools that we can create with and share that unique content. And we see an example of that in the story when Aubrey creates that digital story that she shares with Gramma. Technology also helps us develop digital citizenship skills. And in the story, you know, we were very intentional about a moment when Aubrey asks her mom to help her find Gramma's friend on the internet. You know, it's really important that messaging is communicated, that children need to be supported by a parent when they're using the internet, especially if they're looking to connect with somebody online. And digital technology also provides us with really powerful tools to connect with others socially, and also for the purpose of learning. And, you know, that's, again, we see that in the story when Aubrey helps Gramma reconnect with her best friend B, which is one of my favorite parts in the book. Jen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and just the fact that we've all had to move online to, you know, when you think about collaboration, we're at home, we're online at home, at work, at school. And so we felt it was so timely to tell an intergenerational story about the power to connect positively, which is something that both Leigh and I are very passionate about. And connection, we have layers of connection in our story. And that was really important to us as well, because we know that the true power of technology is to connect human beings to one another. So that all of that sort of entwines in the story.
It's entwined.
Yeah,
there we go.
That's not a word.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And like you said, it's no better time to see that than right now during the pandemic, right? I don't know, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, if people would have ever said like what we did was even possible, and even remotely working, you know, for education right now during the pandemic. And so it really is a timely book, just to show that connection and that it can happen via technology as well. So
Well, it's funny because when we started writing this book over a year ago, and we were just excited to present this idea like, hey, you can use technology to connect and build relationships. And like, you don't have to wait to see grandma. You can talk to grandma on your computer. And then, 8 months later, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And now the story is, well, this is what we're doing now. So how do we do it in a way that's safe and responsible? And so I think it was just so serendipitous that we started this story, and here we are now at a time when it couldn't be, I don't know, more true, I guess.
Yeah, right.
more real maybe is better. Yeah.
Yeah, I get asked a lot about my books about teacher mental health, because people will say, well, did you write this for the pandemic? And I'm like, no, it takes longer than that to write a book. I was writing it way before that.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. It just so happens. It was absolutely serendipitous. Okay, so we have a question for Zahar, actually. And that question specifically is, what was your process for developing the characters and images for the book?
Okay, so to an artist, a blank page is kind of the most intimidating thing. It's just like, the idea of transferring an idea onto paper. Sometimes it's more difficult than you think. So how I like to do it is kind of separating into steps, call it chapters, if you will. So like chapter 1, think about like the placement of the character, the placement of the setting. And then like chapter 2, what I do is I would draw like circles and triangles for the body just to get like a sense of like placement where I want to place them. And then I would draw a rough sketch, and then I'd clean it up, and then the last steps would be coloring and finer ideas. It's just how I usually went about it. Yeah.
So how does the character pop into your head? Like, is it just when you hear the name, you think, oh, this is what it needs to look like? Or do you have to develop that character?
Well, actually, one of the first steps we did, even before way before we started developing the story, was I actually drew 3 different girls, and I sent them over to Jen and Leigh, and they decided, this one actually looks like Aubrey the most. So that was actually like the first thing when we had like a doc or like a Google Slides. That was the first picture on there, even before all the ideas came in. And then, once the story was finished being written, that's when that girl we chose came to life. Yeah, and that's the Aubrey that we know now.
Yeah. All right, that's amazing. Did you go through that with like Gramma and sort of all of the characters in the book?
Yeah, that's actually how I went about it. I had like one sheet, and I kind of like started doing designs for each of them, and I'm like, I kind of like this one, and there was like some trial and error, some things we changed, some things we kept, and yeah.
That is awesome.
I would like to know how you made, because we did have edits all along the way. I'm taking over, Mandy. When
go ahead.
You had to do an edit, did you have to start from scratch? How did you do that? I felt so badly, by the way.
Oh no, it's just that's what it comes with the process. It's all about process to making something that's more better than it could have been if nothing changed. So it actually depended on what the edit request was. There were some things where I could use the original image I had drawn and just like draw new stuff on top of it and then clean that up. Other times I had to completely start over. So, it's just the way it is. And like sometimes I'd be like, oh man, I did all this and I have to do it again. But like after I'd finished the new one, I'd be like, you know what? Actually, I like this better. I'm glad we decided to go ahead and, change it.
Yeah. Jen and I also may have had a few of those moments where like, oh, we got to write this again.
Yeah.
Maybe a few times. Maybe just
yeah, it's not much different from the author standpoint. Now, do you do digital work, or do you actually use paints, markers, color pencils, that kind of medium?
So yeah, we call it traditional mediums, where you draw from like life, or like digital where you like use technology. It's a mix of both. Some pages I drew straight through digitally on a digital program. Some I drew on paper and then I transferred digitally. So it's just like what I felt more comfortable with, what I thought would like get me where I wanted to be kind of faster. So yeah, that's how I went.
All right, that's fascinating. Thank you so much for talking to us about that. I
Yeah,
appreciate
of
it.
course.
Well, we're going to bring on our first guest here. She doesn't need to knock on the door because she's literally right in the house. So Hallie's in the house. We're going to bring her on. Here we go. So Hallie, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Well, my name is Hallie Cassell. I'm a 6th grade student at North Meadows Public School. I love to do digital art, and I love to bake, and I'm a gymnast. And I also wrote a page about sand dollars in the book.
Very cool. All right, so tell us a little bit about the book. Like, what was it like getting it the first time when you held it and all of those kind of things?
It was kind of weird at first. I was excited to read it because of the cover, because of the image of the cover. I don't know why. It made me really want to read it.
She loves your illustrations, Sahar.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome. So what else do you like about the book? Like, what is it that's your favorite part?
Well, my favorite part would probably be when Aubrey and Aubrey's mom found B on the internet. And I know what it's like to connect to friends on the internet and how happy it makes me feel. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
We loved
Yeah.
the work. I know I loved the work that you did on the sand dollar.
Thank
That was
you.
just, yes, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that page.
Well, the thing that I found most interesting probably, like when I was doing the research, was that the different species can change like different colors. Like they can be blue, purple, green, and all different colors.
Mhm.
So there's different species of sand dollars?
Yes.
What?
I know, and they're
That is
all
awesome.
I know. I learned so much about sand dollars writing this book.
We all did.
We all did. We absolutely.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So each species is a different color, or how do they decide? Do they just decide? They're like, I'm gonna be blue.
Not really sure.
Well, why don't you tell them, because we normally find them when they're white. So why don't you talk about how
Yeah.
that happens?
So when the sand dollars die and they wash up onto the shore, the sun like bleaches them, so they turn the color white.
Very
So you
cool.
never know
But in the water, they're a color.
Yeah.
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 But then
Really?
when they wash on shore, they just turn white.
They have all these little spines on them, right?
Yeah.
These spiny things. Yeah.
Wow.
They're
That is
very-
fascinating. So you wrote the research page in the book, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, researching it wasn't super hard because they're kind of popular, so I found quite a bit of information on them.
Yeah. But part of the work that we had to do was reading through different
Yes.
information and comparing and
From
this-
different websites.
Right. And this is part of that digital literacy piece too, right? That Hallie and I got to spend that time together, evaluating websites and determining whether, what we were reading was reliable by checking the source. And those are the kinds of, that's exactly the kind of conversation we want to spark with this book, right? It's kids working and doing things online, and the conversations around, what that means and what that looks like. And
Yeah.
what role does an adult play? How much responsibility can she have to go out on her own and find information, and even conversations about, we can't just copy what we read on a website.
You have to put it into your own words.
We have to paraphrase it, right? And then we also
Yeah.
had to build a reference list. So we have to give credit to all the sources that we use. So there's so many great conversations that came out of this process for us as mother and daughter, and as learner, right? And teacher. So yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
Well, and what an authentic learning experience.
Well, absolutely.
It
And
doesn't get more authentic than that.
I know. And then we get to do this, and we get to do this, right? Like, there it is. You did this.
Yeah.
That's you.
That is
So that was
amazing.
so exciting to be able to see that. And we both saw the book when it came. We're like, it's real. It's really it's here. Exciting.
That's amazing. Well, Hallie, it's been so nice having you on. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you're a busy girl and you got gymnastics and all the things going on. So we appreciate you making time for us.
No problem.
Thanks, Annie.
Thanks,
All
Hallie.
right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, is she your little mini-me?
Sure is. But she is her own independent woman, let me tell you.
Sounds like her mother.
Yeah. That's right.
All right. So we're going to move on to getting to know the book a little bit better. So we talked a little bit about the topic and the process for the illustrations, which is all amazing. So Hallie started talking about the sand dollar stuff, and so I'd like you to just talk a little bit more about that. So why did you choose a sand dollar as a special artifact?
Well, actually, we didn't. My mother-in-law, Judy Todd, who you will meet later on in the program, did a first reading of the book. She's a former kindergarten teacher, and we had a starfish. We wanted something that was special, an artifact that two friends would share. And she said, have you thought about a sand dollar? And I was like, I don't even know what a sand dollar is. So I had to go look it up. And the more we read about it, the more that the sand dollar is very special. It has a star on it, so it's got a star pattern. But when you break it open, there are like little doves that shaped like doves that come out of it. So it's multi-layered. And the more we thought about it, the more we loved the idea. So just like the book has several layers to it, picking the sand dollar as a symbol just started to make more and more sense. And then we thought about how, not all students or not all kids love fictional books, so then we could have a whole section on sand dollars. And just like we needed to learn about sand dollars, it would be really great to have that page featured for a young reader who likes nonfiction. And so that's where the idea to invite Hallie to write it came from.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And the part where the sand dollar breaks and the pieces fall, those are the doves that you're talking about?
Yes. They're the doves.
Are they inside the sand dollar?
They are.
Yeah, they're actually the mouth parts. I learned that also. They're the mouth parts inside the sand dollar. And so yeah, when you break it apart, they fall out and they actually look like doves. It's incredible.
Huh.
They're beautiful, really beautiful.
And so for the two friends to be able to split this when B moves away and, keep them and then alternate sharing the fifth, that was a whole other conversation. What would we do with the fifth dove? But we're able to bring in the element of sharing too, right? Like that fifth dove will be one that goes back and forth between us. So it ended up being, we have such a debt to my mother-in-law, Judy, for that idea. It really worked well.
Yeah. And Judy's going to come on. We're going to have her on here and just talk a little bit more about that too. So yeah, that's amazing. So usually after about this time, we do my favorite part of the whole thing, and that is the author read. Yeah. So who is going to go first?
Okay, I think I am.
Jen's first?
Yeah, I will.
All right, so I'm going to highlight your video here.
Okay. So this is the story of Aubrey Bright. This is the cover that Hallie referred to. And we start at the beginning of the book introducing the character of Aubrey and her grandmother. And so where I'm going to begin reading this story is when Aubrey goes to Grandma's house, and as per usual, so every time they get together, they have this special ritual, which is Grandma tells Aubrey a story. So here's the story. A long time ago, my best friend, B. Adler, and I went to the beach almost every weekend, Grandma began. But this particular weekend was going to be our last weekend together because B was moving away. The day before we were headed to the beach, B gave me a photo album and suggested we use my camera to fill the album with our memories, Grandma reminisced. And I just love this image of young Bee and Grandma, and then the transformation you see later. But on the morning we were leaving, I couldn't find my camera anywhere. Grandma continued. I looked under my bed. I looked in my drawers. I looked in my closet. I looked and looked, but it was nowhere to be found. Grandma sighed. Ugh, that's terrible, Grandma, Aubrey agreed. Yes, I was so upset, Grandma said as she squeezed Aubrey's hand. And that's her looking for the camera. On the way to the beach, I remember feeling like I had let Bee down, Grandma admitted, but Bee reminded me that what matters most are the stories that connect us. Grandma paused for a minute as though lost in thought, and then continued. Once we arrived at the beach, my disappointment washed away as we dipped our toes into the cool blue ocean. And I'll let Leigh continue.
All right. Aubrey snuggled in closer as Grandma continued. I remember feeling the hot sun against my face and the soft, warm sand beneath my toes. And I remember listening to the gentle roll of the waves wash up against the shore. Grandma paused, her eyes twinkling. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a sand dollar peeking out from under the sand, Grandma exclaimed. I squealed with delight, grabbed Bee's hand, and then we ran over to take a closer look. We had never seen one before. I'd never seen a sand dollar before either, Grandma, Aubrey said. Grandma put her arm around Aubrey, smiled, and continued. Bee gently picked up the sand dollar. We took turns touching the smooth surface and fingering the star design. Bee and I cradled it in our hands and wrapped it carefully in a towel. We believed the sand dollar was a sign that our friendship was special and would last forever. The next day before Bee left, Grandma explained, we had to make a very difficult decision about who would keep the sand dollar. Who got to keep it? Aubrey asked. Grandma laughed. We both did. We decided to break it in half. And imagine our surprise when 5 little dove-shaped pieces fluttered into my hands. Aubrey's eyes widened with curiosity. Since there were 5 doves, we agreed that we would each keep 2 and take turns caring for the 5th, mailing it back and forth to each other every year. As promised, we would cherish them forever. Do you still have them? Can I see them? Aubrey asked. I sure do. Why don't you be a dear and go and find the small wooden box inside the top drawer of my dresser, Grandma replied. Aubrey retrieved the box and rushed back to her place next to Grandma. Aubrey was filled with wonder and curiosity as Grandma slowly opened the lid. Grandma, Aubrey gasped, they're so beautiful. And you have the 5th dove. Aubrey and Grandma sat in silence for a moment until Aubrey asked, whatever happened to Bee, Grandma? I've never heard you talk about her. Sadly, Grandma sighed. I don't know. I lost touch with Beatrice Adler several years ago. I do wonder if she still has her doves. Grandma's voice trailed off. But Grandma, if you miss her, why don't you look for her online? You could call her on your tablet like I taught you to do with me, Aubrey suggested. Grandma smiled. That sounds lovely, dear. Maybe someday. And we're going to pause there.
I love that story. I love it so much.
Me too.
And my only thing with the children's books readings is you can't see how beautiful the illustrations are over over the screen. But
I know.
the illustrations of this book are just phenomenal. They're bright, they're colorful. I love how the characters, it's just, the colors are so different than sometimes what we see. Like it's a couple of the characters, their hair is almost like a little purplish sort of, and trying to get that dark look. And I just love it. The pictures are breathtaking. They're so beautiful. So, and the story is amazing as well. And so while you were reading, one of your guests was just like pounding on the door, wanting to come into the party. And so we want to make sure that we let her in, because we don't want her to get cold outside if it's anything like where we are. And so we're going to invite Sheila on in. Yay. There we go. There is Sheila. Hi, Sheila.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. In
Very excited. It's such a beautiful story.
Aww.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable. Sahar, your illustrations tell the story so beautifully. And that's what's so important about a picture book like that. You can see the story if you didn't have the words.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is just remarkable. And I had said that to Leigh. The illustrations are just hard to say. People have to really buy the book so they can see them themselves.
Oh,
And I'm
so
very
much.
proud of my friend Leigh and Hallie. It's just been so exciting.
That is amazing. Sheila, can you tell us a little bit about, how you know Leigh and sort of how you came involved to know the project?
Leigh, how many years ago is it? It's hard to keep track.
I know. I don't know. 8? Maybe?
Yeah, could be 8. And so I have a program called What Color Is Your Brain? And as for adults, and then a children's fairy tale called Princess Shayna's Invisible Visible Gift about the brain colors, but they're the villages the princess goes to. And I had seen, I'm not sure if we remember this, if I had seen the Human Digital Library, I think I had seen something online. I contacted Leigh. She contacted me back. We were the same brain colors, born on the same day, many years apart. And that was the beginning of our friendship. And then doing the programs with her school was really exciting to watch the children get involved, just like with this book. The children will be involved in this. And that's what I loved about the story. And being a grandmother and an educator, to me, the 3 generations and the illustration of the generations and Aubrey's mom. So you had 3 generations there and all working together, and Aubrey's friend and her mom and grandma. And it was very realistic. People can relate to it themselves. I think it's really important that you have that connection, a healthy connection through technology. And that's really wonderful, because there are other grandmothers who are not working the way I am, and they don't have a clue about technology. And they learn from their grandchildren. And this is a beautiful story to be able to get them all involved and do something like this together, and even do the research about the sand dollars and where do you live and how much time you spend together. It encourages conversation. It encourages activities. And I think that's the really lovely educational piece to this story, of course, written by Janet and Leigh. You've got 2 teachers doing this. Of course, it will be educationally helpful. And I think that's what makes a difference also. There's a purpose to this story. It's not just a sweet story that's beautifully illustrated.
Yeah. One of the things that I really like about the book is that when there are conversations between Gramma and Aubrey, that they're very around the tech piece, they're very kind. As in, it's not like the Gramma is saying, put that technology away, we're not using that today. It's not like that kind of a conversation. It's just it's just maybe one day I would be able to learn to do that. Or she taught, Aubrey taught her grandma how to do it, and her grandma was open to something like that. And that it's very much a 2-way learning street between the 2, as far
Absolutely.
as Aubrey's teaching her things And Gramma is kindly accepting that and teaching her things as well. And I love that loving connection.
Mhm.
I love the conversation. I love that it really is a stem for conversations.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's what will make this book so successful, because it's stories that connect us. Well, you're connecting in many ways.
Mhm.
It's just not the technology. It's the beautiful illustrations. It's the experience that they have together. It's what we really want to teach our children and our grandchildren, to be able to communicate that way and develop really healthy, loving relationships
Mhm.
around technology.
Well, and it was technology is what allowed us, Sheila, to build the beautiful relationship that we have, right? With you living in the US and me here in Canada. And I mean, we've never actually met in person. We've never been together in the same room, but we have this beautiful friendship that is made possible by technology. And, you know, I really want to give a shout out to you, Sheila. You were instrumental in helping us really craft our narrative, and I mean, it was the icing on the cake, you know, our time together with you. And so thank you for all of the contributions and just sharing that experience, your experience as an author, an educator, and just all around wonderful person.
Thank you. You know, you just made my blue heart smile.
I know. You're a rainbow girl.
Well, so when you two finally meet in person, it's going to be one of those like hugging, blubbery, like, oh my gosh, I love you and I'm just meeting you type things, right?
Yep,
Yes, we're waiting for the border to open.
Yeah.
So we can do that. Yes.
I know that feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think is so interesting, and Sheila, I've never met you, and I can't wait to meet you. But even I would consider you, Mandy, and Leigh, two of my dearest friends, and both of those relationships started online.
Yeah.
I would say, you know, Sahara and I knew each other in person first, but not Mandy and Leigh. And so sometimes when we're so fearful maybe of technology, we forget how powerful those human connections really can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so beautiful because it crosses borders. You can
Yeah.
cross the border and do things with one another, like Leigh and I had done, that you can do that in relationships and build those relationships that are so beautiful. That's what the story is about, is building relationships and connecting people. And I'm looking forward to more of these books.
Hey, we might be working on another one.
Teams, that's great. What a good businesswoman. I think that's what's so engaging. You want to know more.
Yeah.
And I think because there is so much technology, giving young people this book that's so beautifully illustrated and tells a very complete story in a very simple way. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
It's very simple, not simple-minded, but simple in how you can read so much into it yourself. It doesn't have to give you every single thing for you to enjoy the story. It allows you to use your imagination. It allows you to be on the beach. It allows you even to be in the room when Grandma's sick. And it's so human about what happens to people that it crosses so many different levels of relationships. That's the beauty of this, that everybody can enjoy it and you can share it. And I think that when parents and grandparents read this story together, that's going to be very impactful for families, because we're not having a lot of that with technology. But now that people are home doing things in school and families, this could be a wonderful way to have that happen. And even families doing the Zoom event with one another and sharing the book. That's grand. I think it's just spectacular. They've covered every base. I couldn't imagine a better book. It's perfect. They did a great job.
Thank you.
Well, Sheila, we so appreciate you. And I'm going to be contacting you after this to be on Jen and Leigh's marketing team. So I think you could single-handedly sell their book all on your own. So thank you for...
You're welcome. I already told Leigh that I would blog about this. So absolutely, we will use social media for everybody to know about this fabulous book. And thank you for inviting me. It's an honor and a pleasure. Thank you from my blue heart.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Sheila. It's a pleasure meeting you.
My pleasure. Good night.
Good night. Okay, I love her and I want to be her friend too.
Yeah. She is like, I don't know. I refer to her as my sister. She says I'm more of like a second mother. Like, no, we're sisters. We're totally sisters. Yeah, she's just amazing. I know, same birthday. That's
crazy.
Yeah, one of those things. So anyway, yeah, she's just amazing. Yeah, a wonderful.
That's awesome. Yeah. And everything she said is just spot on, not only about all the kind things about the book, but we focus so hard on technology being used for teaching and learning, and or that brand new app, or how many times can we use Flipgrid for student answers, and we miss a lot that the greatest way to use technology is for building relationships. Yeah. Like I've used technology my whole career, being a teacher, tech integrator, and a tech director, and I can tell you that the most powerful way that changed my life was by meeting all of my friends that I know through technology and keeping up with them, especially during this pandemic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's such a good point that she made. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have one more guest that's going to come up in a few minutes. So I want to get to one more question before we do that. And that question is, what audience is Aubrey Bright really geared towards? Like, when you wrote the book, who did you have in mind?
Well, I think when we initially started, we were thinking, elementary age kids. But as the book evolved, we realized that, this book can be read aloud in an elementary classroom. And it's also, I would read picture books to my grade 8s, and the conversations that can start from a beautifully written and illustrated picture book are so powerful. We use mentor texts in elementary and in high school to engage students in reading and writing. So we really see it being used by children and adults to start those important conversations that we're hoping they start around, digital technology and education, how, and I guess that coming back to that same point we've made, just the power that technology has to connect us.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I want to go back a little bit to what Sheila had said, and Zahar talked to you a little bit. So how does it feel when people say all of those kind things about your illustrations? Because, Sheila said a lot of things about how beautiful they were and stuff like that. How's that feel?
It means a lot. When creating like the illustrations and stuff, I just know that only like Jen and Leigh are gonna see them, maybe you guys, but the fact that now they're reaching out to so many other people, and it's incredible. It feels really nice inside.
Oh, that's awesome. I remember the first time that my first book, and I wrote it, and I remember the first person that said, I bought this book, and I specifically remember the feeling of, wait, what now? Somebody bought it and somebody else is going to be looking at it. Like, wait, what? I totally forgot that was going to happen. And so it's, that kind of feeling of, oh my gosh, other people get to see this besides just me. It's not just going to be on my bookshelf. And exactly. I think that's an amazing feeling. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So one more question for you ladies. And this gets a little bit back to what you alluded to before. Are there any special projects or book plans in your future?
Yes. Yes. We have come to love Aubrey, and we feel like there are so many more stories that she can tell. We were just talking about the next book maybe being Aubrey Bright in the games we play, because we know that, there are so many kids that are connecting through video games, and we'd love to be able, we think that we can tell a multi-layered story about Aubrey Bright and introduce perhaps some other characters, maybe a brother. We really love Maya and Aubrey and their friendship, and we'd love to see that. We just can't let go. We want to continue writing a series for Aubrey Bright in a variety of different contexts that address what we're both passionate about, and that is digital citizenship, digital literacy, connecting with technology in a very contextual way, rather than a don't do this kind of way.
Yeah. Well, and gaming gets a bad rap. And my son, as an example, comes home every day, and the first thing he does is he signs on to Roblox, and he immediately connects with his cousin who just lives in London, and they play together for 30 or 40 minutes. And the communication skills they're building, the collaboration, the problem solving, the critical thinking, not to mention the fact that when they're done, it's like, okay, I love you, Ty, like, love you, E, and like off they go, right? And it's like, oh, I could just, that's so amazing. They're building worlds and developing all these digital literacy skills, like playing a video game. Like there's so much there to explore. And I think, Jen and I were making plans to go away probably like end of November to start writing this new book. And we're like, we should probably talk to Sahar. Make sure she we're deep. We're in it already.
We're in it.
Yeah.
So,
well,
yeah.
What are you thinking?
Of course.
Are you in?
Okay.
No pressure.
Of course, yes.
Well, and we know what we're
I
doing
would
now.
love.
Yeah.
I would love for Aubrey to have a brother who's adopted from Guatemala. That would be super helpful for me because my daughter's adopted from Guatemala, and there aren't many books about connections with families who are, not your birth family. So if you could get, that could be like your third book. If you could get on that, that would be fantastic when you're away as well. Zahar, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Send the ideas.
And all about me for this one. Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot more weekends away for us, Jen. This is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
And we
doubt.
could actually
Okay.
write a book while we're doing that, being away.
Make COVID go away.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Okay. So I'm really excited about our next guest because I know her son. And so I think that her son is a fantastic guy. And so I'm really excited to bring her on. And so this is Miss Judy Todd.
Hi, Mom.
How are you, Judy?
Hi there. I'm well, thank you. And you know one of my sons.
I know one of them. Yes, that is true. How many do you have?
Yeah. 2 sons, 2 daughters. 3 born in 1 year. Beat that. A big
3
year.
born in 1 year?
Yes.
That's a whole other book in the making, too.
Yeah, that's like a medical miracle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And I wanted to say, before I forget, Sahar, the thing that I liked best about your illustrations, and this is the tiniest because I examine everything really closely, are the hands of the grandmother. And Diane Keaton would agree with this. You could hide a lot of things with Botox and other things, but you can't take these old hands and make them look young. And she did that really well. If you go and look at the book, the grandmother's hands are grandmother's hands.
That's awesome.
Really,
that's awesome. And those details are so important too when you're reading because it makes it feel. Yeah, there we go. Can we see grandma's hands? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And,
so
when you were talking about learning technology, Jennifer knows how lame I am at this, but the things that I have learned that I never thought I would over the past few years have mostly been learned from young people. And I find, I don't know whether it's because I'm a teacher or because I had 4 kids or what, I learned really better from young people than perhaps someone my own age. And there were days, we live in a very small town, and I know the people at school very well. If I got screwed up with my iPad, I would take it, I would go to the school, and I'd sit and wait in the foyer till the bell rang, and then there'd be a kid go past me and say, hey, and they say, oh my God, she's here again. And they would come over and they would they would straighten it out for me, and then I could go home and finish feeding my animals on my farm or whatever, something important like that. And I really like when you're reading the book. I've just got this. I wish I had a copy of your book. When you're reading the book to kids, I think it's extremely important. Well, for one thing, each time you do a book, you have to I go over the fact that, well, this is a hardcover book. You have to tell them the name of the author and emphasize that's the person that wrote the words for the little kids, and the illustrations. That's the person who did the pictures. And then when you're reading it, and you hold it up for them that way, but when I put my thumb in it and I put it down, that means I'm thinking about what I've just read. And I'm thinking about, oh, this reminds me of a time when I was a little girl and I went to the beach. So you're connecting the book to real life. Or you can say, oh, this reminds me of another book I read. So you're connecting text to text. So that's a thing that I think is great for kids, then gives them a chance to ask questions. And
yeah, absolutely. And can you tell us, Judy, remind us again how you're connected to the authors here?
Oh, Jennifer's my daughter-in-law. She's married to my second son, and she gave me 2 fine granddaughters. Absolutely spectacular.
Yes, I did.
Yep, we know that. They're beautiful granddaughters.
They inside and out. They're not just beautiful on the outside. Those girls are mature, thoughtful adults.
Yes, they absolutely are.
They're not going to have to be led around by the hand. They're going to make their way big time.
Yeah, they're strong women like their mama.
Yeah, just like mom.
Yep.
And then you were a kindergarten teacher, correct?
Yes, I was. And I kind of, I'm not like Jen, who knew she wanted to be a teacher forever. I think I just kind of backed into teaching. That was a long, long time ago. And back in the day, I had 3 choices. I could be a nurse, I could be a secretary, or I could be a teacher. That was it. There was no talk of going to university. And Teachers College was 1 year at that time. Can you imagine taking somebody out of high school? 1 year later, I was in front of 36 children who had never been to school before. Wow. No kindergarten.
That is crazy.
All I can think of is, oh God, I hope they forgive me. I hope I didn't mess them up too bad, because it was absolutely overwhelming. And when the inspector came one time, I was kind of perched on the edge of my desk talking to the kids, and he came in the room. That was, you had to stand right up. So I jumped down, 1 foot in the wastebasket, 1 on the floor. A very big impression on him. Which
that is crazy. I mean, I think going to school for teaching now is about 6 years. So that's I have 5-6 years if you're lucky, almost. So that is crazy.
So because my mother-in-law is a kindergarten teacher, and we were writing a children's book, of course she was the first person that I gave the book to for feedback. So we're really grateful. Mom, that you took the time to give us some feedback and continue to support me and in everything that I do. So
well,
that's my pleasure. That's my pleasure. That's my job too, isn't it? That's what I used to tell my parents. Your main job as a parent is to be a cheerleader.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I'm so glad that you liked the book, Judy, and we really, really appreciate you being on and giving us your feedback on that. And again, of course, it's a pleasure to meet you just from the standpoint of the fact that I love the Todd so much. So again, thank you so much for being on, and have yourself a great night.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thanks, Judy. It's nice to meet you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. I love her. All right.
It would be fun to have some drinks together with her.
No doubt.
It's in my book club, so.
Yeah, that is
at first, the first few years, but now we've gotten used to it.
Yeah, that's so much fun. So we are nearing the end of our time, and it's always shocking to me how quickly this goes. But the one thing that we have to do yet is we have to actually choose some winners for your book. So we'll choose 2 winners, and usually how I do that is I scroll through the comments that I can see from all over the place, and I randomly choose 2 people. And so if we choose you, then you just contact one of the ladies, and they will send you one of the books. So hang on one second. Let me kind of scroll. I'm not going to look, so it's all fair and all that kind of thing. Michael Harvey.
Oh,
is one.
Australia.
One winner.
Nope, New Zealand. That'll be quite the shipping
journey.
It might take you a while, Michael. We'll send it out to you. Awesome.
And then let's see, who else do we have? Jennifer Ledford would be your other winner. So Michael and Jennifer, if you're still watching, if you could please reach out to Jen and Leigh and get that going. We will get that book out to you, and it will be signed and all of those kinds of things. So that'll be a lot of fun, because those are always the best ones, are the ones that are signed by the authors. So
those are the ones that are going to be worth millions someday.
Millions for sure.
Yeah.
They're going to be sold on eBay and in
That's right.
First edition for sure, no doubt. Yeah. Okay. So if you guys could, Jennifer and Michael Harvey, please reach out to the ladies, and we'll get you your books. And otherwise, again, congratulations, you guys, all of you, Zahar as well, on your very first children's book. For all of you, actually, that just kind of dawned on me. I was thinking it's not first book, but it is your first children's book. So, and it's been such a pleasure to have your EduLaunch party tonight. And again, congratulations.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Sarah from EduMatch. Yeah. Really appreciate it. We are going to continue to have prizes. So if you watch the hashtag Aubrey Bright Stories, we'll have some information out there for future contest giveaways. And we also have a website. It's bit.ly/Aubrey Bright Stories, or is it just Aubrey Bright? Aubrey Bright.
It's Aubrey Bright Stories. Yeah, but it's actually in the ticker on the bottom. If you see it, it's been running along the bottom the whole time. So, and then also, if you're interested in any kind of bulk sales of the book, we give discounts at 10+ books. And if you're interested in that, you can email Sarah Thomas at edumatchbooks@edumatchers.org. And then again, as Jen just said, you can find Aubrey Bright and Stories at Connect Us at bit.ly/Aubrey Bright Stories. You can also find the book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It is on sale right now, so go out and get your copy. All right, ladies. It was a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you
so much. Sahar, so great to see you. Jen, we'll talk soon. Take care.
Great to see all of you.